Getting to understand the Calendly API could feel a bit overwhelming whether you're a beginner or even an experienced dev. It could take some amount of time to understand the endpoints and connect all the dots. In this video, I'm going to help you speed up that entire process because I've already done the hard part for you. I'm going to give you ready-to-use templates that work in n8n, make.com or any automation platform without you needing to waste any time. So without any further delay, let's get started. Alright, so I'm within the Calendly app, as you can see, and I've got like one event here. And let me show you exactly how you can create the API key and then connect it with, n8n or Make. So you just got to go to integration and apps and search for API. And you should see API and Webhooks. You could click on it and then you could say generate a new token, and then you can give it a name, and then you could just say create token, and then your API key is ready to go. And you could also use OAuth, but OAuth is not really required in our case unless you're trying to build an application or something. But then just the API key should be more than enough. So once you get the API key, you just got to come to n8n. And so here, this is the template that I'm going to be using to explain it and giving away to you. And also I've got it ready on make.com as well. So whichever platform you're using, you can just import these and just make use of it. So you just got to come in and then create a connection. So I just wanted to say the authentication is predefined credentials, and then I can search for Calendly API. And then you can see that I've already added my API key here, but let's say I want to add a new one. You could just directly paste the API key here and it's just going to get connected. So you don't want to add any prefix. You could just paste the API key and then it should be ready to go. And then this is how you add the connection for your API key, and pretty much the same in make.com as well, which I'll be explaining once I complete explaining in n8n. So I'll be using n8n as the basis to explain about the API, but then at the end, I'll just touch up on how to use it on make.com as well. So this is the template. You could just import it by checking down in the description on how to get them. And once you get them, you can just import it and then just follow the steps that I'm going to tell you right now. So this is the Calendly API docs section, and you could see here there are a bunch of APIs. So the only thing that could seem a bit confusing is that every single API endpoints asks you for UUID or user ID, which is something that confused me, and I'm sure it could confuse anyone who's just getting started on Calendly's API. So first, going back here, we can see that we've got get user. So while I run get user, it is just going to give me an ID of the specific user. So this URI right here is something that we're going to use in order to get any values related to John Doe. So if I want to get, my busy time or anything, I'm just going to use that specific ID. So this is the URI that I got to use for the upcoming endpoints. So now we've got list users event types. So right now, I think we've got just one event type. Yeah, here we've just got one event type. So if I run this, it is just going to show the list of event types that exist, which in our case is just going to be one. So the collection number, the index is 0, and we've just got 1 30-minute meeting, and that is exactly what is right here. So we're getting the user and we're getting the event type. So the reason we're getting event type again is each event type 2 has their own unique URI. So previously we are just getting the URI of the user, which is this one. And now we're just getting the URI of the event, which is this one. And in order to get the URI of an event, you just got to put in the URI of the user, which I just got from the previous node. So this is giving us the URI of the user. So here we're just saying it is me, give the URI for me, and then I'm inputting the URI that I got before and getting the list of events that I've got in my Calendly, which like how many ever exist over here. And then each event is going to have their own URI. So this specific event for this one 30-minute meeting, this one has this specific unique ID. All right, cool. So that is it. And after that, everything kind of gets pretty straightforward. And next we've got, list user busy time. So we're just going to get all of the busy time of the user based on a specific time range. So I just got to open this so you can see that this is the endpoint, user busy time. And then we're just going to put in the ID of the user. So which specific user are we going to get this? So in that case, we want the user ID that I just got from the first node. So if, sometimes people might have multiple users added to Calendly. In that case, you could say list team members and then just get the URI of that specific team member and then put that inside of it to get that specific person's busy time. So I just put in the user ID here and then the start time, like when you want the range on when you want to check their busy time, and then the start, end, and then you should be able to get the information. So I think now it should get an error because the date seems to be in the past. So I'll just put on the current date. So I'll say the start date is 20th and then the end time is 21st. And maybe I'll say execute step. Yeah, and the array is empty because there's no busy time over here. So if, let me try to book a meeting right now. So I'm going to copy the link of this and then I'm going to book a call for 20th and I'll just say, okay, so now I'm going to schedule this call and you could see that we've scheduled it on a specific time on Tuesday, January 20th. And then I'll say schedule event and I'll go back over here and then so I think I've put it on 20th. So I'll say the start date is 19, for example, or even 20th is fine because we're just starting from 0. And the end time, I'll put it as 21. So now let me try to get the busy time. And okay, so I'm getting this error because probably I guess this is in UTC. So this time zone is this timing that you're going to input. You got to keep in mind that the time that you sent in as an input is supposed to be UTC and you got to do the conversion before that. So if I were to put it as 19, guess it should work because here I've scheduled it for Eastern time, but then in the input we got to give UTC, which is universal, I don't know. And then you see, but now you see I'm just getting the output. Even the values that you get as output are given as UTC, and then you could just use a function to convert that into your specific time zone, whatever it is. But you just got to keep in mind that this specific values inside is UTC. What does UTC stand for? Okay. Yeah, so this is how you get the busy time of the user. You just got to put in the user ID and then the start time and the end time, both of which are UTC. And going to the next one, which is list event types, list event type available times. I don't know what I meant, but okay, so I've written it down. Check the availability of a specific event. So you might have a couple of, so here I've just got one. Maybe I can try to create another one. Oops, I think my internet is lost. Okay, so here I've just got one event, but you might have multiple of them over here. And if you want to check the availability of a specific event and check the available slots, in that case, we're just going to use this specific endpoint over here. So when I open this, you could see it is pretty much similar. The only difference is that previously we try to get the busy time of the user, which is like it gives the overall busy time. So in Calendly, you got to connect your Google Calendar. So for example, you would need to connect your Google Calendar inside of it. So while you're creating the account itself, it might ask you, and once you connect your Google Calendar, it is always going to check your calendar before it shows the available slots. And if you mark in your calendar as busy, if you mark a specific time, it's not going to be shown inside your Calendly form so that it doesn't create like double booking. So for that, it is your Calendly is always connected to your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you might use. And whenever you check the user's busy time, it is going to check the type. So it is going to, you see here, it says type. So if I were to go to the calendar, and let me do that right away. Okay, so I'm here into that specific Google Calendar, and you can see that here it shows the booking that I just made. And for example, if I mark a time over here, or maybe over here, I just say test, whatever. And now if I try to come back here and execute this step, it is going to show me the other busy time that I just created too. You could see one is Calendly, which is the booking that I just made, which is this one right here, the test meeting that was created. But then the other is external, which is the time that I just marked over here, which is the test time that I've just marked over here. Let's say I delete this and I come back here and say execute step. It is going to go away. It is just going to show me just one. So what I'm trying to say is it is going to read your calendar, whatever calendar that you try to connect, and give this one gives the entire busy time. But then the next one is that it is going to give the specific availability of the specific event that you just select. So in this case, I've just put in the event type ID of this specific event. And how do you get the event type ID? You get it using the second one, which is list users event types. So in this case, I'm getting a 30-minute meeting, and then I could just copy the specific URI, which is right here, and then just paste it as input over here. So that is what I've done. So I've just copied it and pasted it over here, which is the event type ID. So if you've got multiple events, you could just copy the event type ID of the specific event type ID that you want and just input it inside of this. So you could use this specific second module to get the values of those. So now I'll try to run it, or I'm not sure of the timing. Okay, again, I got to change. I'll say 20th. And then, so you could see that it just shows the list of available time slots. So this is pretty much it. So you just got to put in the event type ID because you are checking the availability of a specific event. So now it is going to give you all of the available slots in the specific time interval that you've given as input. And again, make a note that the time should be in UTC format. So I've made this booking over here, and while I try to check it over here, I could see that. So I've booked on 12:30 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday in Eastern time, which is equivalent to 5:30 in UTC. So now you could see that it shows 5. Here you could see it's 3:30, 4, and then 4:30, and then we've got 5. But then we don't have 5:30, it just directly goes to 6. It is because the 5:30 is booked, which is the booking that I just made right here. So this is just to get the list of available slots of a specific event. That is it. All right, guys, I think that is it. So, this is the basis, and whichever endpoint that you want to use, you could just make use of this get user, list event types, get the URI or UUID, and then input it and just get the values. So at last, the only thing that I've got is to speak about webhooks. So creating the webhooks is pretty much straightforward if you know how to work with the APIs. So I've just attached that here for your reference. And again, you know how to use this specific method if you're using n8n or make, because we've got the direct Calendly's node where you can just create the webhooks directly using this one over here. So you could, it's the same in make.com too. So you can just use these and create the webhooks, and you just got to keep in mind that for webhooks, you might need the paid plan in Calendly, which is recommended, especially if you're using automations on your Calendly. Yeah, so this is something to make a note of, and that is it. So this is it about the explanation. I know it's pretty much simple, but then, just wanted to explain. So this is it for n8n. So please do let me know if you've got any doubts. Now going back to make.com, it is exactly the same. I've just put in all of the APIs here. So in make.com, the only thing that you got to keep in mind is while you're entering your API key here, you just got to put your API key parameter name, whether it's authorization, or API key, whatever it is called. And then here you just got to put in the API key, but then you just got to make sure to add the prefix, whether it is bearer or token, whatever it's called. And for Calendly, it is called as bearer. So let me just confirm. Yeah, it is called as bearer. So I've put in the API key here. So this is the previous version of HTTP that make.com used to have. So you just got to come in and say add, and you just got to say authorization. And then for key, you just got to say bearer space and then put in your API key, and then you're good to go. And then once your connection is added, you could just select the credentials, and then, use the exact steps that I've set it on n8n. And, you could also use this one, the Calendly module in make.com, but they do not have something like get busy times or get the user, get the available slot. They don't have modules for that. So you just got to make an API call. So you could use this specific node. So both of these are exactly the same. It's just that I thought we could also use this one, which is pretty much straightforward. So you just got to, both these are just exactly the same, but this is authenticated automatically. When you connect, you could just connect your Calendly directly, and it's just authenticated using OAuth, and there's no need for you to enter your API key and authenticate it. So you could use this method too. So it's pretty much the same. The only difference is that for URL, you're just gonna put in the path relative to this specific one, whereas here you're just gonna put in the full path. So while you're putting in this specific Calendly module, you're just gonna be deleting all these, I guess. Yeah, you're just gonna be deleting it and then putting it right here, you see. So it's pretty much same for all of those. So if I want to use it for list busy user time, I could just duplicate it and then just copy this specific value right here, go here, paste it, and there should be a slash. And then for the input, I gotta say, okay, start time and end time too. Let me do that. Okay, so I've entered the start time and the end time, and now I'm just gonna run it, and it asks me for the URI, and I can get that from this specific module right here. This is the URI, copied, pasted here, run. And okay, that was my bad. It is because my Calendly connection is connected to a different account, and I just got to add the connection for the specific new account that I've created. Let me do that. And you could also see how a new connection could be added. So I'm just going to say save. Oops. Okay. So now I'm just going to say connect to Calendly, and then it should be connected. All right. So my new connection is now added. Now I'll just go back and I got to update the connection for this one too. Done that. And now I'll repeat the process again, copy the URI, and then come in here and then paste it. And now you see, now it is showing a busy time that exists. And now let's say if I go to the calendar and mark this as busy test, for example, and come back here and run it again, it is supposed to show me both of the busy times. You see, one is the event type is Calendly, and the other is external, meaning that this was not added through Calendly, but it was added externally directly in the calendar itself. So this is it. So I hope you found this video helpful. I think this is all I got to explain. And so this is an OpenAI module that I thought might be helpful for y'all. Let's say if you're working with VAPI or retail AI, especially in voice agents, and if people are like, hey, do you have availability tomorrow? Then you just cannot come into the automation and check for tomorrow's date, right? You just got to convert that sentence like tomorrow into what exact date is tomorrow and what exact time. So this, you can find this helpful. And then I've got this specific module, which is specifically meant for converting the time zone from UTC to whatever time zone that you want. So here I've got America, New York, but if you want to change it to a different time zone, what you can do is go to your Makes dashboard, and then you could just click on organization settings, and then just click on the time zone and select the specific try to search for the specific time zone that you want. So for example, let's say I want UK. So for UK, I maybe search for London, and you could see Europe, London. So you just got to follow this exact format, and you could say Europe/London. You could just put it over here, and then it is just going to give you that exact time format by converting it from UTC to London's time. So this is how you do this conversion. But in n8n, it is pretty much straightforward. Just use a function, and then it is going to get converted. So the reason for this is all the values that we give inside as input to Calendly's API should be in UTC format, and even the values that the Calendly returns for the time is always in UTC format. So while for the input should be converted before sending it inside of the Calendly's API request, and the output that you receive too should be converted up to the specific time zone that you want. So, but yeah, so apart from that, I think everything else is covered. And the last topic that I want to talk about is the main disadvantage, not say disadvantage, but then, Calendly does not have the feature of creating the booking, creating a meeting through the API. So if you want to book a call, if you want to book an event using the API of Calendly, that is not possible because their API does not support it. And because of that is not possible. So you just got to keep that in mind. But it is not possible through Calendly's API, but then it is still possible through browser automation by using Puppeteer or Selenium. And we've done that and implemented, and it's been working well. But then, yeah, so I think I've covered whatever is necessary and important. And if you've got any doubts, feel free to put it down on the comments or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to help. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you found this helpful. Cheers.